Abram was born in the city of Ur in ancient Mesopotamia. He lived during a time when people worshipped various gods, but one day, God spoke to him and commanded him to leave his homeland, his relatives, and his father's house and go to a land that God would show him. Abram, displaying great faith, obeyed God's call and embarked on a journey with his wife Sarai, later known as Sarah, and his nephew Lot. As they traveled, they arrived in Canaan, the land promised to Abram by God. There, God appeared to Abram again and said, "To your descendants, I will give this land." Although the land was already inhabited by other tribes, Abram built altars and worshipped God, affirming his belief in the divine promise. However, a severe famine struck the land, forcing Abram and his family to temporarily move to Egypt. As they approached the Egyptian border, Abram grew concerned about his wife's beauty, fearing that the Egyptians might kill him to take her. So, he devised a plan and asked Sarai to say she was his sister rather than his wife. Sarai complied, and when they entered Egypt, Pharaoh, the Egyptian king, took Sarai into his palace. God, however, afflicted Pharaoh and his household with plagues because of Sarai's true identity. Realizing that Sarai was actually Abram's wife, Pharaoh confronted Abram and asked them to leave Egypt. They departed with their possessions and returned to Canaan. Back in Canaan, Abram and Lot faced conflicts between their herdsmen due to the scarcity of resources. To maintain peace, Abram suggested that they separate. Lot chose the fertile Jordan Valley, while Abram stayed in Canaan. God appeared to Abram once again, promising him that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky and that the land would belong to them forever. Abram settled in Hebron and built another altar to worship God. During this time, a war broke out among several kings in the region. In the midst of the conflict, Lot, along with his family and possessions, was captured by the enemy kings. When Abram learned of this, he rallied his trained servants and pursued the kings. With a daring nighttime attack, Abram defeated the enemy forces, rescued Lot, and recovered the seized goods. After this victory, Abram encountered Melchizedek, the king of Salem and a priest of God. Melchizedek blessed Abram, and in response, Abram gave him a tithe, a tenth of the spoils of war. As the years passed without an heir, Sarai grew concerned about the fulfillment of God's promise. She suggested that Abram have a child with her Egyptian maidservant, Hagar. Following Sarai's advice, Abram took Hagar as his concubine, and she bore him a son named Ishmael. However, this arrangement brought about tension and conflicts within the family. When Abram was 99 years old and Sarai was 90, God visited him again, reaffirming his covenant and renaming Abram as Abraham, meaning, father of many nations. God also changed Sarai's name to Sarah and promised that she would bear a son. Abraham fell face down and laughed at the idea, as both he and Sarah were advanced in years. But God assured them that nothing was impossible for him, and within a year, Sarah gave birth to their son, Isaac, fulfilling God's promise. As Isaac grew older, God decided to test Abraham's faith and obedience. He commanded Abraham to take Isaac, his only son whom he loved, and offer him as a burnt offering on a mountain in the region of Moriah. Abraham, with